Work-life balance. This video is presented by Lázaro Aronte González, Diana Blanco, Luis Chavez, Leslie Grijalva, Sofia Michelle Hummel, Nicole Soiza Castro. I now introduce you to the table of contents. Introduction. What is work-life balance? The part of balance, gender and COVID, positive psychology, disability, intervention, balance, how to get there, and conclusion.
What is work-life balance? Can we truly find our happy balance? What do we prioritize? Work-life balance is the ability to achieve your work tasks, such as meeting project deadlines, while still being able to have time to spend with friends and family. Being able to have a healthy stability during all hours of your day, including time to properly eat and sleep. Most importantly, not worrying about work when not at work. Working hours in the 19th century was not an important context, and working longer than 60 hours was normal. It wasn't until 1874 that the first labor law was enacted to support a stabilization of hours worked at 60 hours per week. Not until the 1920s was a 40-hour work week in the cards for those working in the United States. This mentality, established during past generations of working from light until dark, created a culture of workaholics. Considering a lighter work week in order to have balance was unheard of. These values were engraved throughout this generation, which is now being challenged by newer generations. The current generation, now more than ever, is fighting for shorter work weeks and more personal time, seeking happiness outside of work and not just for financial gains. Long work hours has been a controversial topic in the United States for decades. In many countries, there has been an adaptation of welfare state which the government preserves the well-being of their citizens. These countries emphasize family values and gender norms. With establishing welfare state, the countries are amongst the top with the high percentage of work-life balance, and some, like Denmark, are even considered the happiest country to live in. With shifts like these globally, the challenge in the United States becomes real. Organizations are now taking action into following the demands for less conflict between work and life. And by doing so, they see a positive effect in multiple areas with their employees. Has it ever occurred to you the amount of hours a woman puts into housework? I bet not. Women spend an average of 4 hours per day on housework, while men spend only about 2 to 2.5 hours. While men normally go home and decompress, clear their minds, and enjoy hobbies, women don't have this privilege. Women get home and they have to deal with their second jobs, which is always there. There is no way to turn off the necessity to maintain your household or be done with your kids. Not only are you responsible for your work-life balance, you're also responsible to ensure that your kids make it to school, go to their extracurricular activities, while most men don't have the same amount of responsibility. Most of the time, not only are women managing the housework and the childcare, they are also doing it with no compensation or appreciation, and it's deemed an obligation. When we analyze the time a woman takes to care for her home, children, and husband, virtually everywhere in the world, women work longer hours and have less leisure time than men. Women also have the extra responsibility to do so while keeping everyone happy and caring for their emotional needs. Rational work is a heavy burden on women, and it brings on added stress, which unbalances their health. but it is done with unconditional love, especially for their children. This, however, makes having a balance between work and life even harder. Women have to sacrifice careers or leisure because it seems like an impossibility to have this balance.
Work-life balance has become a common topic of interest among younger generations, especially since COVID-19. People that weren't used to being at home often had to adapt to balancing work and home chores, as well as their physical and emotional well-being. Even though working from home allows employees to be more flexible with their schedule, it can blur the boundaries between work and home due to having work and personal time in all in one space. The COVID-19 pandemic, also known as coronavirus disease, has inadvertently changed the lives of everyone, both good and bad, from the moment it was discovered in December 19 in Wuhan, China. It appears it is still currently affects everyone in different measures, even if it is not as troubling as when the pandemic first started to spread panic in the world. Due to how contagious and how quickly it spreads around the world, it changed how we react to one another, but also our ways of communicating has been more virtually due to many lockdowns that states and countries had to issue to try to minimize the spread of COVID-19. It has caused more social isolation due to the lockdowns, but also led to a slight increase in other mental issues like addiction and depression. A lot of people face difficulties due to the pandemic, especially due to loss of employment and being unable to work, in which can lead to stress, depression, and other mental health issues. But mainly, it can and most likely has caused an imbalance to a good work-life balance, since people had to work at home while also being present for their families at the same time, which is a difficult feat to do in an everyday business, especially if you do not have a separate workspace to be able to separate work from your personal life, family, kids, or even alone time. However bad COVID-19 may have seemed, and the effects and tolls that it has led many to experience, it does not come with some benefits. It does come with some benefits. It has made people realize that they cannot simply allow themselves not to take care of their health, and mainly to reevaluate things in their life, as well as what is important to oneself. It has also made people realize that while they do not have to work in complete texture work, they also need to prioritize themselves to be able to take better care of their overall health.
What is positive psychology and how can we implement this into our work-life balance? According to Courtney Acker, positive psychology is a scientific approach that studies human thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Instead of traditional psychology, positive psychology focuses on the strengths rather than the weaknesses, and it also tries to build the good things in life and reminds you of all the things you do have and all the things that you could have instead of just trying to repair the bad or focusing on the bad things. It makes you heal with the positive thoughts instead of just trying to get over those thoughts. It aims to take the lives of average people up to great instead of slowly focusing on moving those thoughts that people struggle with up to normal. Some examples of using positive psychology can be reminding yourself of positive experiences, memories, good things that you like, food. Also reminding you that you can be in a positive environment like the workplace. Building a culture of positivity and well-being leads to lower turnover rates and higher employee retention. Enhancing creativity and innovation leads to new products and also for employees to be creative with their work. It also increases the satisfaction of employees and a lot more people would want to work there. Having supporting managers and new managers that they're developing, It could be a more positive and empowering way to get other people to want to be leaders. Having a healthy work environment can also reduce employee stress and burnout, and also the feeling that you're being overworked. Having also a flexible schedule, being able to communicate without the feeling of getting fired or written up can also reduce the stress. All this is with the focus of positive psychology that is built with five main characteristics, which is goal, care, optimism, inspiration, and love. When you adopt an optimistic management approach and you are positive and motivating with your employees, that's going to increase the empathy with their employees, and it will also allow them to better support them and all the efforts that they have to balance their lives. Being able to step aside from your leadership and understand your employees and their life experiences as well as the things that they have to do outside of work can lead you to be a better leader. PERMA means positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievement, which positive psychology is all about that. What are the benefits of applying this approach in the workplace? It increases meaning in everyday life and everyday tasks. It helps you feel motivated and satisfied with your life. It increases positive emotions and positive thoughts. It increases self-awareness and also it increases performance and wanting to be leaders and wanting to improve every day. You have boosted motivation, more attention, thoughts, and actions, more creativity, more wanting to explore and learn new things within your workplace. You also have more goal-oriented behavior and you want to learn new things from your coworkers and your managers as well. It reduces the stress and the anger that sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of employees get within their work. Being at work, having a job that you've dreamed of or having a job that you need, sometimes could be a little frustrating and it can be very stressful. But that's not the point of a job. We have to enjoy our jobs. We have to be happy with our performance, and we have to have leaders that really care about us and care about our schedule and care about us outside of work, because we are not only what we studied or what we work, we're also people outside of it, and we like different things. We have different hobbies, and it's important for us to have a positive approach and a positive work environment. These approaches work typically when people want to flourish, which flourishing means that means to prosper, to thrive, to be self-motivated. And it has to do a lot with management and the owners of the company wanting to create new policies, new activities, new hours, in order for employees to be satisfied with their job, as well as managers to be satisfied with their job, and also companies to be satisfied with their employees and how they're performing.
When we think about work-life balance, we rarely think about the parents of children with disability and how hard it must be for them to find work-life balance, especially if they have more than one children. According to the CDC, a disability is any condition of the body or mind that makes it more difficult for the person to achieve daily tasks or certain activities. Some examples can include ADHD, autism, vision impairment, hearing loss, traumatic brain injury, and other disabilities as well. In 2016, it was reported that over 16.8 million Americans are parents of children with disabilities under the age of 18. In order for work-life balance to work, the management as well as the owners of the company have to be inclusive with all types of parents, students, and people that have a life outside of work. When talking about families with children with disabilities, we have to think about if the mother is a single mother or a single dad, if they are married, where do they live, what type of job do they have, and how many children do they have as well. Are these parents also disabled, or did they get disability from an accident, or were their children born with this disability?
A study conducted in 2013 demonstrated that flexible hours and flexible workplaces were important for managing their child's care needs. Many parents usually find themselves stressed because they have a lot of things to do after work with their children. A lot of low-income families have to work overtime or extra hours in order to meet the economical needs of their child. However, they do not have time to take care of them or to meet their needs. But how can positive psychology help this issue? Positive psychology focuses on the solutions rather than the issues. And using all these issues, they create a healthier approach in order for everyone to be happy and every parent have a healthy lifestyle, a healthy work environment, and also meet their child's care needs. With that being said, the solution for this issue would be having managers that have empathy, optimism, and really want to help you. Having work policies for parents of disabled children can also be a great idea. If there's more than one employee that has children with disabilities, a support group can be also great for them to talk about their feelings and have somewhere and someone to talk to. Having flexibility with their hours as well as enough time for them to go to meetings, doctor's appointments, as well as if an emergency comes up. Management also has to be understandable that there's times where parents cannot accomplish a certain task if something happens at home. Having a job is having a responsibility because you're getting paid for it, but we are more than our work. When we think about work-life balance, we rarely think about the parents of children with disability and how hard it must be for them to find work-life balance.